The bases are loaded, the shot clock is running out, the judges are starting to notice you've been getting vaccinated behind the bleachers between rounds with a mysterious glowing blue formula, and the opposing team are sharpening their hockey sticks at the other end for some street rules. You've never been a particularly good swimmer, but football is in your blood, so by God you're going to get this free throw to pay for your father's new cybernetic leg after his thresher accident on the farm. But alas, you make the shot and it's a foul ball that spirals straight into little Timmy's glove in the fourth row. Your one chance to make it all come together and you blew it, as the home team dumps Gatorade on their towel boy and a swell of applause and victory cheers. Your used and abused super soldier body begins to succumb to the organ failure that's a virtual certainty after 19 months of injecting pure electrified antifreeze into your bloodstream to build up a tolerance to all forms of physical violence. You drop to your knees on the grass and find your vision fading to a white void where you can finally be at peace, knowing you'll just be doing this all over again in 9 to 15 years anyway, but with ray tracing next time. Welcome to the Gutter Space! The only pop culture news show where you can comment your greatest fears and weaknesses and be sure the host won't exploit it to destroy your political career. You can trust me, man, I got your back. Comic book video games! TMNT Shredder's Revenge has Casey Jones, and you can get a free pizza with a physical copy of the game, and that's sick. I like that. I like Ninja Turtles. Midnight Suns has another CG trailer that shows off Venom, and Spider-Man's sleeves are gone again! Venom gets mind-controlled and turned into a giant symbiote demon thing, and that's just swell. It's a good excuse to have him fight Spider-Man without undermining the fact that they've been bros for like decades now in the comics. I really enjoy that the soundtrack is blaring Metallica bookending the trailer. I miss when video games had guitars in the soundtrack other than Doom. Nowadays, everything is underscored with indistinguishable, boring orchestra music that all sounds the same like the middle of this trailer. But then they bring out the amps! This is the song that plays in my head when I look at that power strip I plug my phone into. Master! Master! This trailer is awesome and gets me so hyped, but then I remember what the gameplay is going to look like, and then I get kinda sad, because that doesn't really look awesome. But you know what makes me even more sad? Crime! Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is? Identity theft claims a new victim every 14 seconds. Just a few years ago, my mom's bank card number was stolen, and someone in Europe spent $300 out of her account buying a new TV, and we just wish we could have caught it sooner. That's why I'm excited to talk about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, password management, antivirus software all combined into one simple, easy-to-use app. You might have one of these services individually already, but it's like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Instead of logging into your email one day, finding out your password was changed hours ago, and getting some shady notifications from the activity on your bank, Aura monitors the deep web for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers to send you alerts fast to your phone and email. I tried it out and was shocked to find that a few of my passwords had already been compromised, including that Wattpad account I made like 6 years ago to read my friend Brandon's Batman fanfic. Not my Wattpad! Aura also gives you real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries, like if someone was opening a loan or credit card in your name. And their VPN service allows you to stay anonymous by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. Protect your family and yourself from identity theft at aura.com/Godzilla with my link in the description. And if you sign up right now, you can try out a 2-week free trial to see how many times Aura finds you or your family member's personal info on the dark web. If you sign up now, let me know in the comments if your personal information has been compromised. You won't regret checking. Now back to the video. New Spider-Man Fortnite skin, it keeps happening! You bastards on the Spider-Man subreddit or whatever can make fun of me all you want. You know I'm right! 2023 is going to be a good year for Dead Space fans, and I think we deserve it after that 10-year-long drought. Some of the original Dead Space devs are working on the spiritual successor to the series, the Callisto Protocol, which is apparently no longer in the PUBG universe. That's weird, I don't know why it was in the first place. That has a new gameplay trailer showing a spaceman on a spaceship chopping limbs off monsters, throwing them around with electric telekinesis, and then stomping corpses before being gruesomely killed in an elaborate death animation. Pretty Dead Spacey. It'll be out in December just before the new year, and if that's not enough, Motive Studios are over here remaking the first Dead Space in loving detail for 2023 too. Initially, I thought this remake was weird because the first game has aged pretty well, but I played it for the 100th time last week and I realized its character models are kind of plastic looking, its controls were far more refined in the sequels, and the story of the overall series suffers from making Isaac a silent protagonist and then giving up on that right away, so you don't get attached to him as soon as you need to for him to be the central character of the entire franchise. It'd be cool to run through the original game again with Isaac allowed to speak this time and play more of a role in the story, with his original voice actor, mind you, and an insane level of polish to the graphics and mechanics. Like, look at this shit that they did for his breathing. I would have honestly just settled for a remaster, but I don't know, some of the changes they've made sound pretty cool, and if this has a chance of reinvigorating the series after Dead Space 3 definitively fucking murdered it, then by all means, I just want more Dead Space. I like scary stuff on spaceships, and this is my time. Oh yeah, Fort Solis and Routine are coming out too!
What?
As we all know, Dead Space is mechanically an evolution of the third-person horror gameplay of Resident Evil 4. Everything old is new again, let's all wear some bell-bottoms. I've explained in detail in the past that I don't think Resident Evil 4 Remake is a necessary thing because the old one is still solid, doesn't really need any updates to its story, and was getting ported to more machines than fucking Skyrim. And I feel like this remake is a lot easier to mess up than the previous ones for various reasons. Primarily because Capcom doesn't make one-to-one remakes of their previous games. You know, if it was a good game 10 years ago, and you just do exactly that again, then it would be a good game, but prettier. But they're internally referred to as reimaginings, so there's so much more room for error because they're not just following the blueprint of an already awesome game, they're trying to reinvent the wheel a little, and that can have varied results. I think Resident Evil 2 Remake was awesome because of the changes it made, and I think Resident Evil 3 Remake actually fell a little bit short of the original because it was just smaller and not as fun. I'm ultimately still down to try it out and play it until my eyes bleed because I love Resident Evil 4, and if they nail this, it'll be a cool new way to experience the Leon Doesn't Care adventure featuring Europe. My biggest hope for this remake is that it doesn't completely overshadow the original and they just stop allowing you to play that on future generations of consoles. RE 1 through 3 Classic can only be bought and played today on the PS3 store, and that was almost shut down last year until everyone rioted and bought it some extra time. I love the original RE4 and I think it really does stand the test of time, so I hope this new spin recaptures everything that made it good without making it totally obsolete in the process, which is an extremely tall order, which is why of all the game remakes coming out, this is the one that has me the most concerned. But only out of love, you know? The Resident Evil 8 DLC story looks pretty cool. Probably has to be extremely self-contained from the rest of Resident Evil lore because it takes place in like 2035 and the rest of the series probably doesn't want to have to be beholden to what that's doing for the next 15 years. But hey, third-person mode for the main game and the DLC is an interesting touch. It'll be cool to do a new playthrough with that perspective. You can also play as a 9-foot-tall vampire woman if that's a thing for you, so yeah. In other video game remake news, by God, it feels like we're in the late 2000s Platinum Dunes era all over again. The Last of Us is receiving another shiny new update on the engine from the second game. This one feels especially weird because the original still holds up to modern graphical standards way better than most games getting remakes around this time, and it's not even a full 10 years old yet. And they already did the remaster for PS4, and that looks pretty good, but in spite of everything, we're getting a third version of this game, and in some of the side-by-side comparisons for the gameplay, it feels like the only difference is the characters are standing in slightly different lighting. Maybe the hair on the new models looks nicer, I guess? Other screenshots, it actually looks like a pretty night and day difference. I don't know, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. It is cool, however, that the new in-game models now match the quality of the ones from the pre-rendered cutscenes, and it'll take out all those hard transitions from game to story. I really like The Last of Us, and I think it's a great game, but I have no idea why it needs to keep getting polished and updated over and over instead of simply just being ported. I mean, I would have just played another port, that's fine. I guess the idea is to add in mechanics from the second game to make playing them back-to-back more coherent, but even that doesn't feel totally necessary. Just let the games evolve as you play them. They don't need to be exactly the same functionally. I guess it would be cool if they expanded the levels to be much larger with more exploration. I can't afford a PS5 because I'm a broke bitch, so it'll be ages before I can ever even play this, but I might check it out someday. If you weren't tired of that same story being done again and again, here's some behind the scenes of the Last of Us TV show. Yet another show about Pedro Pascal being a reluctant dad on a road trip adventure with a special child. Seeing as how the game was already a really well-told story, it seems redundant to just do that again, but without the interactive element included in a way less technically impressive way. It's on the same level of pointlessness as the live-action Disney remakes of animated movies. Why have a talented team of hundreds of animators work hard to make expressive and lifelike characters in an unforgettable immersive world, when you can just point a camera at actors in a park in Canada? It works so great for Bebop! Speaking of live-action Hollywood adaptations making their source material less desirable for casual audiences through their convenience and mainstream appeal, comic book movies! Black Adam has its first full trailer. I want to hate on this movie because I feel like they're going to wuss out of making Black Adam too villainous because he's played by charismatic actor Dwayne Johnson, but this movie's been a passion project of his for like 15 years, so clearly he loves the character and I'll give him a chance. I feel like he'll try to do the right thing by Black Adam fans. All 6 of you. It's cool seeing that all these other characters like Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Atom Smasher are there too. I hope Atom Smasher smashes Black Adam, and then the Atom and Captain Atom show up from the future with Adam Strange. I can't wait for this guy to slap around all those goofy children in Shazam 3, that'll be fun. The entire collective internet spammed unfunny Morbius memes so hard they communally tricked Sony Studios into thinking that was a huge demand for Morbius to come back to theaters, and on its second run it made about $85,000 nationwide, making it the first movie to bomb in theaters twice! So Sony needs rent money and are putting out No Way Home again with a clunky title and a bunch of deleted scenes they lied about putting in the home release. Hopefully this will be more interesting content than a half-rendered PS2 Hulk from Endgame. Highest grossing movie of all time, you bitches couldn't afford to finish that? Cheap motherfuckers. They announced Joker 2 with a pretentious title that implies that more than one person will be a Joker this time, so either Harley Quinn will show up, or there will be a damn copycat Joker from that thing Willem Dafoe pitched a while back. It's weird how long it's been since Joker and Batman have been against each other in a film. They're pretty much just separate movie franchises that occasionally cross over now. Wait, update? Apparently Lady Gaga is in talks to co-star in it, might play Harley Quinn, Joaquin Phoenix isn't totally for sure on board yet, and it's also, apparently, a musical? Are we being pranked? Is that real? And on the TV front, Gotham Knights, no relation to the game, is a CW show about Batman dying or disappearing, so it's up to someone else to take over as Gotham's protector. But it's different from those. This one has no budget, so Batman's costume is hilariously embarrassing, and the main character is an adopted son of Bruce Wayne that's an original character instead of any of his dozens of kids in the comics. Now lame OC that's probably the Joker's biological son for a plot twist midway through the season or some shit must team up with what appears to be a group of annoying edgy teenagers to avenge Batman and... I don't care, I'm not gonna watch this. Next! You guys know I like Alien and Predator, right? I did the Aliens games, the Predator games, and the Aliens and Predator games, which got way less views even though it was highly requested in the comments of the other two, which is why I don't do requested topics anymore, because you guys ask for stuff and then don't watch it. New Aliens game already? This is the spiritual successor to Aliens Black Plague and Aliens Penumbra. 2 minutes and 28 seconds of a cinematic trailer with stiff facial animation just to show off exactly 5 seconds of gameplay footage. How exciting. Looks like a top-down strategy game thing. God, what do I have to do to get Alien Isolation 2? I'm not above ritual human sacrifice to appease H.R. Giger's menacing demonic spirit. At least Predator's got some cool shit coming down the pipe with that new movie titled Prey, which has assuredly upset some Bethesda collaborators working on a straight-to-DVD game adaptation like Doom Annihilation. My personal formula for how to make a cool Predator movie is not to make it explicitly about the Predators and their lore, but to make an unrelated gritty action movie that would work entirely on its own without a Predator, but it just makes the situation more complicated and exciting when one shows up and hijacks the plot halfway through. The first one's still an interesting movie about Dutch Schaefer realizing his search and rescue squad was manipulated by the government to do a search and destroy mission because of Cold War era politics and his faith in his country is shaken. And then an alien with lasers shows up and it's fucking awesome! The second movie is halfway to being a Lethal Weapon movie with Danny Glover as a loose cannon cop trying to stop LA from collapsing because of a war between the Jamaican and Colombian cartels brewing over turf disputes. Then an alien with lasers shows up and it's fucking awesome! If this new one can follow suit and be a really cool movie on its own with a Predator as icing on the cake, then it'll be a worthy entry into the franchise. Predator 2018 is a terrible, terrible, awful thing. The Predators want to accelerate climate change, bruh. Resident Evil is getting a Netflix show. I canceled my Netflix a few months ago because their service becomes worse by the month, so I'm not even sure I'll watch this. Once again, it's another attempt to bring Resident Evil to live action by just writing whatever the fuck they feel like for the story, and then cramming in recognizable monsters, iconography, and locations to try and make up for writing terrible fanfiction. Now Wesker has 2 daughters you've never heard of, instead of his son that you never heard of, that are trying to survive the zombie apocalypse while having flashbacks to their dad doing supervillain shit that ended the world. Even though a full-on zombie apocalypse never actually happens in the games, this and the Alice movies seem to think Walking Dead knockoff shit is the way to go. It turns out man was the greatest monster! I know he doesn't look like Wesker, but I think of all the actors cast as him so far, Lance Reddick is the one that could genuinely pull off his personality and cool factor, and anything's a step up from the Welcome to Raccoon City version. I want to do a whole video on that movie. I think it's just fascinatingly wrong in every way. Sonic Frontiers showed some gameplay, and then everyone got mad, I think, and then maybe they were going to delay it, and then they were like, no, we're not going to delay it, I don't know. And then they showed some more gameplay, and then everyone's like, not mad anymore. I don't know. I don't really have a horse in this race. I don't play Sonic games. I'll defer to Jacob on that one. What's the prognosis, Doc?
No delay yet, but a lot of people were asking for one when the first look fans got at the new mainline Sonic game in 5 years looked extremely boring and rough around the edges. We got poppin'. We got a complete lack of physics requiring Sonic to boost downhill to get any sort of speed whatsoever, and some clunky looking combat. I really hope this is more fun than it looks. Our first look at this game has been stretched throughout the month via IGN coverage. This has been one of the weirdest marketing fumbles I have ever seen. By trying to play it close to the chest, they have left fans high and dry for almost a year, having nothing to go off of but an 8-second cinematic of Sonic running through the woods courtesy of the first Sonic Central, which is basically like a Nintendo Direct, but only for Sonic, my dream. And then an entire year later, with the return of Sonic Central, they sat around and announced literally nothing for 15 minutes as IGN showed off gameplay for Sonic Frontiers at the exact same moment in a different stream, on a completely different channel. What? And that's where all the fan backlash came from. But then, like a week later, we found out that it was just an early build that we were seeing, and whoever was playing it was just clearly not very good at it because they showed some footage right after that just looked much better, and whoever was playing was actually competent, and it didn't look nearly as boring. It still got problems for sure, but why didn't you lead with this? So far what we know of the story is that it'll be penned by Ian Flynn of Archie Comics and IDW Sonic fame, and I couldn't be more thrilled about that. I highly recommend the IDW Sonic comic series. It's so good. It's great. Like, please go read it. The story of Sonic Frontiers will follow Sonic, Tails, and Amy getting sucked into some kind of portal and being transported to a mysterious new land. The cast will all have amnesia upon waking up. It seems like the name of this new land might be the Starfall Islands. I think somewhere Takashi Iizuka, the head of Sonic Team, mentioned that the game will be made up of different islands that you can visit and journey through. So far we've only seen one, and it's probably one of the more boring ones. Also, Knuckles is going to be important, I think. Look, he's actually doing his job for the first time since 2001. That's cool. I like that. So, there's your little Sonic update, whatever. I don't know if I'll be doing more of these. I think I just kind of got roped into this like a Meeseeks box.
Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is getting a DLC, so big news for Theory Man and Marky Guy. The main game was pretty rough, so hopefully this is more polished than not at all. I have a passing interest in this series, but I'm a bit hesitant to care because it seems like they're becoming more and more kiddie and less about genuinely scary and unsettling concepts, so I don't know, maybe I'm getting too old to be the main audience for this anymore. I mean, I was perfect in 2014. I think that's all for announcements that I care to talk about at this time. What game or movies are you most excited? Oh, wait. The Spot is in Spider-Verse 2. What games or movies are you most excited for coming up? You want to hear me talk about the Resident Evil movie? I want to really do that. If you want a bigger but more short-term way to help support the channel and help us thrive, go check out my eBay where I'm selling a bunch of rare collectibles and toys I've found that are in really good condition. Otherwise, be sure to hit up the Patreon and check out some Patreon exclusive videos dropping there. It's only $1 and it really helps us out. See you next time!